This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association, your source for the latest Iowa ag news headlines right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, Mark Magnuson, and Andy Peterson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Mark.
Hello and welcome into Ag Matters PM on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Mark Magnuson. Today is Tuesday, July 22nd, 2025, and we're so glad you can join us for today's show. In today's episode, I will be joined by Cory Bratland of agmarket.net for our closing markets. But first, it is my discussion with Seth Krantz. He is a veterinarian with the National Pork Board, and we continue the discussion about the National Swine Health Strategy. Mark Magnuson for the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, and I'm joined today at World Pork Expo 2025 by Seth Krantz with the National Pork Board. Seth, thanks for taking the time to join me here today. And could you tell me, please, your role within the National Pork Board?
Yes, sir. Well, I'm a veterinarian and a pork producer from the state of Tennessee. So just finished my first year on the board of directors for the checkoff National Pork Board.
And what have you been working on recently with the National Pork Board, and what would you like to tell us about here today?
Yeah, so we've got a lot of energy and excitement around the whole subject of animal health for pork producers in the country. I know you spoke to Meredith about our new National Swine Health Strategy, but we've also been in the process of working on some other programs over the last couple of years. So a few things. One is AgView. It's a program a lot of producers have heard about, and really a program that was built with all producers in mind. No matter the size or scope of their production. And really, AgView has been a great tool for improving the traceability of pig movements around the country, both from a commercial level to the exhibition level as well. And that's something available to all producers across the country. Another focus we've done is the Certified Swine Sample Collector Program, which has really been a great program to coordinate with our federal and state animal health officials. It's a standardized program to collect diagnostic samples to help us identify and properly diagnose disease, and really incorporate some other folks, caregivers, other folks involved in raising pigs. So it's not just veterinarians having to go collect samples. So that's something, especially with our foreign animal disease efforts, but also with efforts of everyday diseases that we can really drive improvements in that area. And then the third program we have going on is the Secure Pork Supply Plan. So something we encourage all producers to participate in as well. And that's really a comprehensive biosecurity program or plan for farms. Again, benefits to help us prepare for foreign animal disease, but also to do the best job we can protecting ourselves from common everyday diseases.
And anyone that's spent any time around the hog industry knows about those biosecurity measures, and they've been in place obviously for a long time. Where have we made steps forward in biosecurity? Is there any new technologies helping us out? Any new practices?
Yeah, so there certainly have been some advancements, and there are new folks coming into the market, providing some new tools out there. Really with biosecurity. There's a lot of steps we can take, and it's just doing the best, really the best processes we can every day. So that may look different on different types of farms, but we all have different measures we can take in that area.
And going back to where we started with the AgView system, could you explain that a little bit further? I know some about it, but I don't exactly know the nuts and bolts of the AgView program. Is it something that you use mainly to collect that data then and then that reporting so we kind of get a picture of what's happening with disease right now?
Right, yeah. So every day there's a lot of pigs that move around the country. Maybe wean pigs that are coming from one state traveling to another state to grow out. Also exhibition pigs, moving between states to go to shows. So it's a free program for all pork producers, and you can just register premise IDs and track movements of pigs between those premise IDs. What we have across the country, no matter what state you're in, is really an expectation from our state animal health partners that in the event of a disease, we really need to know where pigs are going. And we haven't had a good system, several years ago, we didn't have a unified kind of system to be able to do that. So to kind of take away some of the challenges of having a patchwork system that one state recognizes but another doesn't, we really tried to develop that AgView program to fit the needs for both producers as well as the states.
And then when it comes to those everyday diseases that we're dealing with, of course, we're thinking about PRRS, PED, that type of thing. Where we stand right now with those diseases, are we, staying diligent? Are we still needing to make steps forward? Obviously, but where are those places that we need to make improvements?
Yeah, so unfortunately, those diseases are incredibly challenging. Across the country, for many different types of producers, those two diseases are some of our most significant challenges we have. They're complex issues. They're viruses that have inherent challenges that make them more difficult to control, easy to spread. But one of the things Dr. Peterson mentioned with the National Swine Health Strategy is what do we need to know more about with those diseases? What are producers seeing on the farm? What are caregivers struggling with the most to really help us direct our efforts to solve those? They're big problems, not problems we can solve overnight, but we really are trying to move in one direction to really tackle those.
And Seth, at the end of the day, it sounds like, yes, you're putting together these plans, these ways to help producers, but you're not just throwing out these tools and ideas and saying, hey, here's what you need to do. You're actually listening to the producers and seeing those real world problems they're dealing with and then trying to help find those solutions.
Yeah, and one of a pretty common theme between farmers is, we really want to get into the nuts and bolts of how do we fix this? It's hard I can't go in and say, here's how we fix PRRS because it's so complex. And really the role of the National Pork Board in this is to really help set the strategy and kind of the high level focus of what do we need, how do we get there, and who really needs to be included in that process. So, so we're trying to stay out of it's not going to be a prescriptive, this is what you do, but really as an industry, as a group of producers of every size, here's what we really need to get us to move the needle on animal health.
He is Seth Krantz with the National Pork Board, my guest here today. Seth, is there anything else you'd like to let our Iowa producers or Iowa listeners know about with the efforts from National Pork Board?
Yeah, so just to echo some of the things Dr. Peterson said, is really let your voice be heard. Pig farming might look different state to state, but really, ultimately we have a lot of commonality. But we want to hear everybody's experiences. The more voices that are heard, the more different perspectives we have, the better we can really move forward in this effort.
Seth, thanks so much for the time here at World Pork Expo, and have a great rest of the expo.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you to Seth Krantz of the National Pork Board for joining today's show. It is time now for Closing Markets. I will be joined by Cory Bratland of agmarket.net. But first, a word from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soybean Checkoff.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
It's time now on AM/PM for our Closing Markets, and I'm joined now by Cory Bratland of agmarket.net. Cory, how did we trade in the grains today?
Hey, Mark, good to see you again. Yeah, grain prices started out the night session last night a little bit higher. We had soybean crop ratings come in down 2%, but still rated pretty high at 68% good to excellent. But that was down 2% from last week's. But, corn was unchanged at 74%, which is the same as last week. And that's up from about 67 or 68% from last year. So grain prices, though, they did trade quite a bit of the session lower. We did have corn and soybeans both, close out the day just a little bit lower. Wheat prices, though, however, with that trade deal announced with Bangladesh, with them going to be buying some wheat, around 700,000 metric ton of wheat for the next 5 years, is giving the wheat market a little bit of support. But grain prices on corn and soybeans both did close, off their lows. So we seem to be having a little bit of consolidation coming in here.
And are corn and beans getting a little bit of a boost then from the wheat, Cory? Sometimes we see that relationship where one commodity goes to the upside and the others follow along with it.
Yeah, unfortunately, it seems like wheat kind of is easy to get drugged down or up with corn and soybeans. But today, corn it's still kind of coming under pressure. The weather still looks to be pretty good. Yes, we do have some heat coming in, but a lot of the key areas got a pretty good drink of water here over the weekend. And then the big question is here for corn and soybean here the next 2 weeks is, where does this heat actually set up? There does sound like there's some areas that are not going to get nearly as hot and continue to catch some rains. And quite honestly, I think, a little bit of heat isn't going to bother most of us, especially with as much water as we've gotten here over the last couple of weeks.
Over on the other side of the ag markets, how did the livestock trade today?
Yeah, cattle market, both live cattle and the feeder cattle they were all over the place. Ended up the day down just a little bit on the front couple months of live cattle. Feeders cattle actually ended up anywhere from about 60 cents to $1.20. So they were pretty volatile. It seemed like you took your eyes away from the screen for 5 minutes. You look back, they were higher, then they were lower. So we're definitely got some fighting here between the bulls and the bears, trying to find out who's going to win out. Hogs on the day, ended up kind of mixed as well.
And then, Cory, on the consumer side, I was reading a story here this morning about some record prices or near record prices for ground beef. So what would be that breaking point, do you think, then, for the consumer if even these cheaper cuts of beef are seeing that price skyrocket in the grocery store?
Yeah, that's been the question for quite a while. I just, the function is, I think people are still, it's hard to change diets. We've seen that over the course of history. It's once the consumer gets onto those diets, they're gonna, I think, unfortunately, higher prices are probably what's gonna have to cure it. But yeah, I mean, when I go to the grocery store and look at it, I mean, it's nothing to see, $6 plus for some 80-85% lean ground beef. So that's up significantly from what it has just a couple years ago. So overall, I think you're gonna have to see some little bit higher prices, or we're gonna see the economy maybe slow down, and we're just not seeing that today. The stock market continues to push onward and upward.
Cory Bratland, agmarket.net, my guest here today. What's the best way for our viewers to get in touch for more marketing information?
Yeah, the easiest way, head on over to our website, which is agmarket.net. You can get our toll-free number there, or else reach out to us via email.
Thanks so much for the time. Always appreciate it, Cory. Have a great rest of your day.
You bet. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you to Cory Bratland of agmarket.net for today's closing markets. Let's take a look at how the markets closed today, and we can find that information anytime under the Markets tab of our website at iowaagnet.com.
September corn closes down 4.5 at $3.99 1/4. August soybeans down 4 3/4 at $10.10 1/4. August soybean meal up $3.30 at $273.80. August soybean oil down 44 cents at $55.63. Chicago wheat up 7 1/4 at $5.49 1/2. Minneapolis wheat up 5 cents at $5.92. Kansas City hard red wheat up 7.5 at $5.33 1/4. September oats down 6 3/4 at $3.52 1/4. On the Merc, August live cattle down 25 cents at $224.98. August feeder cattle up 68 cents at $328.28. August lean hogs up 40 cents at $107.75. August pork cutout up 40 cents at $111.43. Class 3 milk down 43 cents at $17.20.
That wraps up the closing markets on today's show and brings us to the end of today's episode. You can find all of our content on our website at iowaagnet.com. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click on the notification icon to let you know whenever there's any new videos available from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. You can follow us on social media at Facebook and X, and you can listen to our morning, midday, and closing market podcast at Apple, Amazon, Google, Spotify, YouTube, and Podbean. Also, check out our daily Iowa Ag Matters podcast. From the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network studios in Des Moines, I'm Mark Magnuson. For Ashton Jolly, Dustin Huffman, Riley Smith, and Andy Peterson, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.